Buenos Aires.
Thank you for coming to my persuasive speech for my Communications 113 class. I loved high school. While the 4 years I spent at Elko High School were awkward and demanding, I wouldn't trade the experience that I had there for the world. I was a member of the student council and I participated in drama club. I was arguably over-involved, but my very favorite extracurricular was pep club. We had a passionate student association that never shied away from the chance to show off our school spirit. We stayed dedicated to spending every Friday night at the game, cheering on our team. We painted our faces, wore our school colors, and chanted our cheers at the top of our lungs. We bled maroon and white. The memories from these days I do hold dear, but I can't say I'm proud of everything that our pep club did. You see, Elko High School is the home of the Indians. We played football on Warrior Field, and we cheered on our team by doing the tomahawk chop in the stands. We wore t-shirts of Native American men donned in traditional headdresses, and we called ourselves the tribe. Elko High School has been proud of the Indian mascot since the 1970s, and back in those days, they even had a mascot costume that students would wear around at games. Needless to say, it wasn't particularly becoming of the culture it claimed to represent. I loved my school, and I was always eager to show my school spirit, but having a culture as a mascot always felt wrong. As a white student, I had no idea what the tomahawk chop meant outside of the context of a basketball game. I didn't know the significance behind the beautiful headdresses or even the history behind Indians in our area. I was ignorantly unaware of the generations of racism our mascot represented. I'm sure we've all heard the buzz in the media over the last few years about abolishing Native American mascots across the country. The NCAI, the National Congress of American Indians, has actually been protesting the use of these derogatory mascots since the 1960s. This clash of cultures has existed since the forming of our nation. The use of American Indian slurs and stereotypes dates back as far as 1769, and I'm sure it's safe to assume that there was cultural tension, classism, and racism in play even before any documented conflict. The majority of the 20th century was spent working to leave that ignorant acceptance behind in an effort to overcome racism. With important civil rights activists such as Martin Luther King Jr., the integration across the US, and new civil rights legislations being implemented, we made great strides in that effort, but racism is still prevalent today. Native American mascots remain the same. Many organizations say that the change in stadiums, merch, and marketing would be too expensive and difficult to change. There was a time in our nation's history when slavery was going to be expensive and difficult to change. There was a time when integrating the Southern schools was going to be expensive and difficult. But both of those events proved to be beneficial and right in the long run. Eradicating racism is worth the money. Organizations with a Native American mascot miss out on many team pride traditions in order to avoid these racial conflicts. Native American culture deserves respect, but it's impossible to strike a balance between respectful representation and harmful perpetuation of stereotypes when using a people group as a mascot. For example, in 2013, less than 10 years ago, the Washington football team argued that the Redskins mascot had always represented them and that it should stay the same in order to honor the history of the team. Daniel Snyder, the owner of the team, said, "I respect the feelings of those who are offended by this team name, but I hope such individuals also try to respect what the name means, not only for all of us in the extended Washington Redskins family, but among Native Americans too." Many tribal councils have passed resolutions or issued statements regarding their opposition to the name the Washington Redskins, including, but not limited to, the Cherokee and Comanche Nations of Oklahoma, the Intertribal Council of Arizona, the Intertribal Council of the 5 Civilized Tribes, the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe in North Dakota, the United South and Eastern Tribes, the Navajo Nation Council, the Native American Bar Association of DC, and the Society of American Indian Government Employees. All of these groups work endlessly to overcome the racism that they endure. The Washington football team fought for years to keep their mascot, ultimately resulting in a Supreme Court case in 2017. The team didn't officially remove the name until 2020. As much controversy as the Washington football team has stirred up over the years, they continue to play in the NFL. They still have a loyal fan base, and they still sell merch and manage to pay their players. As of February 2022, they settled on rebranding their team's name as the Washington Commanders. My point here is that Native American mascots are a blatant example of the racism that still dwells in our country today. Not only are they holding us back from overcoming separation based on skin color, they simply take away from Friday night football experiences. I loved being a part of Pep Club, but I participated in insensitive, racist acts regularly. If these mascots were changed, we wouldn't have to tiptoe around or be delicate around the mascot. Many time-honored traditions, such as dressing up as the mascot, having the physical mascot at events, doing impressions of the mascot, using the mascot's image, cannot be used with Native American mascots because it is disrespectful to an entire culture. When the mascot is, let's say, an animal, respect and racism is simply not an issue. Having a racist mascot does prevent many organizations from using their mascots to its fullest, funnest potential. So let's change the mascots. Let's leave racist stereotypes in the past and let's have a little more silly, harmless fun at Friday night football games. Thank you for listening.